Hey, good friends, welcome to the Mad Painter Show. Today we're going to be discussing you and how you can be the all you can be. Now, we're in a lot of distraction mode. It's a lot that we're choosing to be distracted by, it's a lot that's working to distract us. So, how can we go about being the all that we can be when it's hard to do so? So I'm just gonna freestyle this. I've paid attention to we are focused on the doing so we can have this. And if we're looking at the lack, oh, we gotta keep doing this, we gotta keep doing this. It's pressure, 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 pressure. Friend, relax. Because it's time for us. Now, we've gone through this, the whole COVID situation and everything. And you see how they kind of made some of us sit down, but then made some of us do extra work. And those that had to do extra work, they were so burned out. So here's this situation with looking at God and looking at Christ. It's a family thing, a relationship thing. All of this is to make you feel hopeless. Friend, you have way too much to be doing, way too much that you've been thinking about, that you've been dreaming about. Like, those things weren't just to pass time away. No, something in that daydream, something in that vision that you were having is an inkling of something that you are interested in, something that's connected with your purpose. But it's up to you to do a little bit of deeper diving into that to see what's going on. But the secret to that is actually diving into getting to know God and checking out this whole thing with Christ. I get it. I may have some children of God with me, some Christ followers, and I may have some people who are just like, man, I was just on here for that manipulation thing and all of that. And but all of this plays a part in that, because when we get into this relationship, it's so much going through my mind right now. We have an opportunity to actually experience how God is telling the truth. Okay, we've experienced lies. We've experienced even lying to ourselves. And what happens when we believe those lies? I get the whole fake it till you make it, but at least in the fake it till you make it, you're actually believing something in your faking because this is something that you really want to accomplish. But then when it's like coming to lying, it's a selfish thing, and there's no consideration of even what you're doing to yourself. So, I mean, this isn't a thing to point out the wrong that we're doing. See how I'm saying? Like, this is a collective thing. This is not a thing where I'm here to point out the wrong you're doing, and you know the wrong that you're doing. But at the same time, we will sometimes get to a place where we feel like all our wrongdoings is preventing us from being better. So we want to seek out this being of ours, who we are, and how we can go about being the all we can be. And I mean the all. I know I got some old schoolers here, and I don't think they're still doing Army commercials. But when I was asking what to do the video about, I heard the be all that you can be in the Army. And this has nothing to do with the Army, but it has absolutely everything to do with your training. Life. Baby, let me tell you, you're learning about all the things. You go to school to learn about how to get a career. What makes you think you shouldn't be learning about life? Experiences, yes, honey, they'll teach you about life. But sometimes COVID has taught us, sometimes we need to sit down and actually be willing to learn the things without always having to experience everything. I mean, it's good that we experience some things, but we don't have to necessarily experience everything. So, in even saying that, there are going to be sufferings. You can label that suffering as anything, as loss, as sicknesses, as life will be lifing. You can look at nature and see how life be lifing. If you have plants at home, and what do they call that? I can't think of the proper word, but it's like a grooming type of thing. Once your plants get so vast, you have to start nipping pieces off to help it to keep it to continue to grow. Well, this is the same thing with us. And when we understand more about life, we'll understand more about the purposes of things and how God plays in part with this. So we have the whole knowledge of good and evil, okay? And then the tree of life. And in these trees have different seeds. And I further thought about what Satan was saying as far as what he was saying to Eve, and just even reflecting on the title of the tree. Do you know how much burden it is to have the knowledge of God, but then in not having the wisdom and understanding of what to do with that knowledge? It's totally mind-blowing. So having the knowledge of it, goodness gracious, just to having the knowledge of certain things and seeing how you will just go after something because you think you know something and it's only on the surface. But when you really understand what it is past of what it looks like on the surface, boy, it gives you a whole different wisdom and understanding of it, doesn't it? And so it wasn't the fullness there. And here we want to experience the fullness of life. If we're constantly looking at the bad and good of things, we'll have a hard time seeing the purpose. We'll have a hard time seeing the glory of God and seeing how he has a system of things set up. So in this relationship and in this walk, we need to experience this thing. So to deal with Christ, right? So Christ, God is his daddy, the father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Hey, I got it right this time because I always forget somebody's name. But in seeing that this is an identifier, these three people, and when you study who these three people are and how they were and how God changed their being, it really shows us the love of God. Man, some of us out here has done some dirty things. Have done, has did. I mean, we out here living dirty. But at the same time, I'm not here to point any fingers. Baby, I'm here to share some love on you. Because, man, it gets tiresome running away. And this dirtiness could even be in, I don't believe you, God. So we want to get to a place and seeing what his truth is, because this is what's going to help you see the collective. You're not alone, my friend. So, okay. So I realize we are not hearing any testimonies anymore. And we need to get in a place where we are in relationship with, we are listening to people who are in a relationship with God. So in observance of social media and seeing how social media, entertainment, the news, redirect your focus, and it's tricky. It'll have you looking at something else, but still have you thinking of yourself, making you think what you're lacking, making you think how you're either higher or lower than someone, but it totally brings off a unbalance. We're off. And so when we're in this alignment with God, he brings us a hope. He brings us a joy. And he wants to show us, because it's going to be life and regardless. But he wants to show us, because I personally feel like you want to start this relationship way before the fan gets cut on, before any poo has an opportunity to step on a scene and like, you know what, I'm considering of hitting the fan. So I really, in this walk and in just researching and getting to know, is a mind-blowing thing how God does things. And when he shows you these things, because this is an experience, when he shows you these things, it's the thing where it's not just saying this. I could show it to you too. And with this peace and joy and kindness and this endurance and long suffering, there are going to be struggles. Even in plant life and animal life, there are struggles, there are fights, there are a struggle with reproduction, there is a struggle with bearing fruit. But God's showing us that he is there with us, that he is there with the struggle. He's either going to get us through it, get us over, get us around. He got us. And he wants us to experience this thing, that even in the midst, there is still peace, there is still joy. So if we're looking at the lack, we're not allowing for the peace and joy to show itself. So we want to put ourselves in a position for peace and joy and mercy and all this good stuff to be shown to us, even when it looks like something else. Because all of this has a lot to do with the creation of our being, not just like the beginning of the creation, but also the renewal, because this is creating a new thing in us. And so back to this testimony thing, right? I want to let you guys know, because I get it's a lot of things going out there where people are looking like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what's going to happen for tomorrow. Let's start off with today, and let's look at today, because baby, I'm working up that. I haven't dropped the Master of Self-Love for my people who have been following me, because now I'm working on recreating it, making it more interactive. And so we're going to make this a walk for real. So that's coming back soon. But the purpose of this Master of Self-Love is it's not so much about self, but in showing how God loves you and how it shifts the self, shifts the self. And a lot of this has to do with Christ, because you have all these questions. We'll think God is so distant from us, but Christ really shows how close he is. And it's a situation where you want this inside of you. And so in looking at Christ, because I had these little things written down in the midst of slightly doing some notes, and in looking at, he's the Prince of Peace, the King of Kings and Lords of Lords. He's a brother, a priest, a counselor, a friend. And I mean, this list goes on and on and on and on, and Savior, on and on and on. And the more we study this, because we're oftentimes looking for a mentor, we're oftentimes looking to hear some type of word or something that's going to encourage us to help us keep going. And the crazy thing about it is that I was looking for my Bible. Hold on. And the crazy thing, I'm going to keep talking even though I'm not there. The crazy thing about it is that, because my book is all tore up and stuff, is that even though it's looked at as this book is history, it's a historical book that we can look back and reference to whenever we need some type of guide or this, that, and the other. And I just feel like the whole history thing is to show you, yes, this is proof that it did happen. And we have this going on at this, that, in such a time. And even though it's talking about different religions and kingdoms and this, that, and the other, other cultures are actually discussing this thing and showing this is a people thing that's really happening, and it's nothing new under the sun. Oh, I mean, that conversation can go on and on and on. But and actually studying the things that God is promising us and talking to him about it. So one of the little things that he promised is that he's a living God. And so the reason why this book is so tore up is because it's like, what else were you talking about? And so back to the social media thing and how we're looking at, and I'm gonna get back to the testimony things too, how we're looking at how we're desiring things of somebody else and how we wish we had that, or we woulda, coulda, whatever it was. It's taking us to a wrong place. But these are desires that as human beings, we're going to have desires. So when we read the word of God, it redirects our desires. It puts us to a place, instead of asking, well, how can I go about getting Shalala there? I don't know where that came from, but it's just like, how do I go about getting old dude over there? How do I go about getting something of the flesh and something of the material? And now how do I go about seeking your face? How do I go about obtaining this relationship with you? How do I go about experiencing this love? Wow. So when I was little, my mother used to even in growing up, because it went past when I was little, and it starts with the foundation thing. And even though you don't have the foundation of a spiritual relationship with God throughout your family, you never know who had it in your ancestry. But it could still start with you and you seeking it out and finding out what is this real enlightenment thing is about. It's a relationship, because it's not only enlightening here, it's enlightening the entire being. So when I was little and growing up, my mother used to talk about the different characteristics that she was seeing from the people in the Bible. And it's like, what? How are you seeing that? Because I'm only just seeing what they saying. But over the years and reading, I just had a desire for that. And I really wanted to see, how is she like, Lord, can I see that too? Because that just seems really cool. And one day, and it was just like a continuous thing, your cup overflows, and constantly reading and constantly seeking out. Just one day it happened. And just recently just recently, I was reading a situation with Paul, and especially with the things of social media and a lot of people believing that Christ didn't exist as a human being. It blows your mind when you actually do believe that he exists as a human being, because it's mind blowing, especially when he starts talking to you now. So in researching this thing with Christ and him being a living being, and I actually forgot what it was that I was saying, but it's gonna come back to me. But Paul, thank you. See, he's spoken into existence. So I'm reading about Paul and this whole thing with slavery and people's misunderstanding and them thinking like, yeah, being with God and following Christ is this whole enslavement situation. And it's like, when I read it recently, I believe it was either in Corinthians or one of them spots. I can't remember, but it was in the New Testament. As I was reading, I just saw Paul's passion and him pacing the room and trying to help people understand his passion for this and how he was feeling. And I just really saw him saying a thing like, I'm so strong and so passionate about this. I'm willing to be a slave to God as opposed to being a royalty or anything to man. And it's like he wanted to make this point so clear. And it blew my mind. And it's like, because here we are, and how people look at popularity, stars, artists. I can't think, whatever their names are. I can't think of the names of them right now. I'm having a brain fart. But these people who are entertainment and these people who are in royalties, and how we'll desire to want to be like them or be acknowledged by them. And in reading, I believe that was Psalm 63, and in seeing how God is this king, and he is desiring to be in this relationship with us. It was either 62 or 63. Read both of them, baby. And see, here it is. He is on this high place and wants this connection. He wants this attention. And it was like, wow. Here it is. We're seeking the attention and the love of people. We're a God. A God. Not just a God. Not just any God, but he also wants to be a father. He also wants to be this closeness, and it's in connection with Christ. So it's like this whole level of, no, I'm close to you. I understand so much. I understand the flesh. I understand this. It's a we-ness. And looking at how we, if we're choosing to be, are in collective with that. I mean, I feel like you in it, whether you recognize it or not. But it's just that, how are you wanting to live your life? You want to really struggle through the struggles, or do you want to still feel the peace and the presence of God in the midst of these struggles and still experience him? And it's like, wow, you are there. So you want to see and experience his word. And this job situation, because it came to me in the testimonies, it came to me as far as in what's happening with a lot of people in the jobs and how we're feeling like we may not make it to tomorrow. No, baby, no. Let me tell you, I used to have this job. I was working at a tennis place. And it was such an extremely stressful job because of what management or the owners and stuff were doing to the people. I was doing a lot of apologizing and having to sit there and take it and not say anything. And so the tennis courts were like 2 blocks long. And this is another reason why you want to listen to people who are in a relationship with God. And so I listened to Bishop Dale Bronner. I was getting ready to go into a whole thing like, baby, I don't listen to everybody. My mama knows and this, that, and the other, because I'm not really a church person, and we're not even gonna get into that right now because the focus is relationship. So anyway, Bishop Bronner is in a relationship with God. And when I tell you, this man will speak to your situation, praise for you, and this, that, and other. He talking to a whole bunch of people. But this is also showing, and this is an exhibition almost of an experience with God, because he is living, experiencing God. And in experiencing God, it's a connector to other people. And it shows you that in this connection, he sends people out to help you out in your situation. So Bishop Bronner was talking to me, baby. I know he was talking to a whole bunch of other people too, but he was also talking to me because God sent it in him. It's like, okay, baby, this is what's going on. And so it's like 2 blocks long for this tennis court, and I'm pacing and I'm talking to God and I'm crying because I didn't know what I was supposed to have been doing. This is why we want to have this connection with God, because where God is, where he goes, there is peace. And we want to move when he moving. And so as I walked these 2 blocks pacing back and forth, talking to God and hearing Bishop Bronner and listening to what Bishop Bronner was saying, because it was as if he was speaking to me. And it was just like, it's time to go. It's time to go. Because, I mean, you'll have situations where people will get rid of you. And then you'll have situations where it's like, oh, no, they'll keep you because they want to continuously abuse you or do this, that, and the other. And when it's your time, when your time is up and it's time for you to move on, you have to be sensitive to those things. And so it was my time to move on from that place. And part of me was like, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what's going to happen because this is going on and that's going on, which will be testimonies later on, which, you'll hear a lot about it. But all these things were going on and I wasn't sure. God was just like, trust me, trust me. Not even 2 weeks later, I had another job. About like week and a half. It wasn't even that long. I didn't even have to search for the job because the job came looking for me. So we want to know God's word. We want to know what he promises. We want to experience God. Because yes, baby, there are going to be times that he's going to tell us a word and you're not going to fully know what's going on, but you have to trust him. But you know what the key thing of that is that he's talking to us, is that he's telling us a word. And that's what we want. We want to put ourselves in a position where we can hear and listen, because this is what's going to change our being, friend. It's not just, I'm going to go ahead and do this and I can have all this and I'm just going to be, once I get to doing all this and doing this, I'm going to be all I could be and all the honey's going to want me. No, friend, it's nothing like that. When we walk and be in this alignment, because Christ, man, once you understand and see how Christ is, and I dropped that little list off, Man, brother wasn't walking around like bow down, kiss the ring. Do you know who I am? Do you know who my daddy is? Like, my daddy is the father. So it's like I was about to say the father, but he was the God of those names that I dropped. My brother wasn't name dropping. He was going around loving on the people. He was helping the people. He was giving us an example of how we should be. He trusted in his daddy. He's showing us he didn't trust in us. He didn't come here and start trusting in the system and was like, well, I don't know. Caesar didn't say I could do this, so I don't know if I could. And it's not, because, it's a whole different type of rebellion, but it's not a rebellion that we are doing within ourselves, for ourselves, because of ourselves. No, we're doing this for kingdom purposes. And we really want to seek out what his will is for us. Because what his will is, when this kingdom come and his will be done, and we're actually walking and operating like Christ. Oh, wow, yeah, you want to get into water and a wine and did all these different things. But look at all the people that he touched and gave hope and gave life to. That's the real deal. And dropping wisdom on people when they didn't, and like they wanted to give up. They didn't want to live another day. That's it right there. So friend, don't give up. This is about shifting this being. So, honey, whatever they told you, whatever it is, where they're trying to make you pay attention to the lack, my friend. This is, baby, let me tell you. Weep not, my friend. Because this is the morning time and joy is here. Because now, faith is the substance of things hoped for. And when you seek his word and start seeing what's happening, he's going to feed in that faith. He's going to bring increase. And you want to experience this thing. Because you're made for more. And you got to start somewhere. And it's like, even though you're here, honey, you're being prepared to go here and over there and over here. And I love you guys. This is about, this is about becoming more and being the all, because he is all and everything. And once we tap into that, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. He in you. He ain't all the way out. It's an inner thing. Feel it, experience it, because he loves you more. Like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, friends. Research. Seek the face. I love you.